Hi guys, so welcome to another session here at the Creative Ferry Academy, and I'm still your host, IKOGB. And today is an interesting day. I say it's an interesting day because we have an amazing person, we have a VIP all the way from Zimbabwe with us today, the amazing Fungi Dube. Please welcome to Creative Ferry Academy. It's a pleasure having you here in this platform. Uh,
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful to be here and to have a conversation with you.
oh, well, I'm sure that we are honored because I don't know, but I'm pretty sure before the end of the session, our viewers will understand why we call you the amazing. All right, so if you're just joining us or if you're new here, this is the Creative Ferry Academy, and it's a family, it's a home of creatives from all walks of life, all across the globe. You see, we have a VIP and a friend all the way from Zimbabwe. So there's no borders, like we are creatives without borders, basically.
Yes,
That's what
exactly.
we are. And well, we have a brand identity design course in the Creative Area Academy. And this session is actually brought to you by the Brand Identity Design course of the Creative Area Academy. And our Brand Identity Design course is basically about transforming young creatives interested in brand identity design from the theories to all the way to the practical and then the design business or the business of design. Because it's one thing to know the theory, it's another thing to apply the theory, and it's another thing to make money from the application. So that's what we try to sort out. And talking about the business of design is actually one of the reasons we're here today, because documentation. A lot of designers, well, a lot of I say freelance. I don't like using freelancers, but a lot of solopreneurs are used. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. A lot of solopreneurs, when it comes to designers, like they avoid this documentation thing, like the process of documenting. I'm not talking about documenting your works or just that. I'm talking about a lot of things that go between you and your potential clients. But that's not what I'm here for. That is what we have Fungi here for. And now, I remember following you. I've been following you on Twitter for a while. And one of the things, aside from the amazing designs that you put out there, one other thing that, drew my attention to you was you've consistently preached about this process of documentation. I've seen you do it over and over and over again. And one thing with me is when I see a designer is passionate about something, I like, okay, I want to know more. Like, let me understand better about this. And, I was privileged and opportune to go through the freebie link you left on one of your Twitter posts. And it was amazing, all the documents there. And I was thrilled about like, are you a lawyer? Like, there's a lot of things I felt like, okay, now, like, this is not ordinary. Like, and honestly, I didn't know a lot of these things, but going through your page, I was like, wow, this is good. And if it's good for me, I believe it's good for someone out there as well. And I believe it's good for members of our community. And that's why we have you here. So before we jump there, let's meet you, Fungi, because I know someone will be wondering, okay, who is this Fungi Dube? Just tell us a bit about yourself so viewers will get to know you more.
So hi everyone. Thank you so much again, IK, for having me here. My name is Fungi, as he's already been saying. I am a brand and visual identity graphic designer based in Harare, Zimbabwe, and I have been doing this for 6 years. I've been fully freelance the entire time, so I am a solopreneur. I work solely by myself. I do all my processing, everything, my marketing, my accounting is all on me, by choice. um, and when it comes to the work that I do work with a lot of individuals and SMEs and corporates in the sustainable space. So sustainability is something that's very important to me. So I try and work as much as I can with brands who share the same vision as I do, and who have the same core values when it comes to sustainability. But another thing as well is that I am very passionate about packaging and elevating African packaging design systems. So, the whole element of being able to keep the African narrative alive and to be able to tell our stories in an elevated and very modern way is something that I'm also very passionate about. Um, I would also say the reason why I'm here as well is because, and you made reference to my Twitter, is that I'm also really passionate about being able to share my experiences and my journey, especially when it comes to, design and the business of design and the mistakes that I've made and some of the lessons that I've learned. Because it's important for that kind of information to be out there for people who may just be starting out in their design career. And that is something that I felt like I missed out on when I was starting. I'm fully self-taught, so it was a bit of a, chaotic time for me and was very experimental, trying to figure out how to do things. A lot of it I learned because I got feedback from clients who would say, "Oh, you're sending this out to me, but this doesn't seem professional enough." I'm like, okay, so that means that I need to be able to come up with a way of making sure that everything is super tight. And I need to be able to, find ways to really, enhance my design process so that it's very professional, but also at the same time, I'm able to have successful design outcomes. So that's a little bit about myself.
Well, that's a lot. I love what you said. You said you're self-taught, and that is what I can say for like 95% of African designers. Well, okay, let me just use Nigeria as for example. Like here in Nigeria, I'm pretty sure I don't know how many design schools or schools that offer design as part of their courses. So most of us, I am self-taught. Like I remember I started from YouTube and then I decided to like take myself through. And just like you said, the chaos that that we experience as a result of a lot of these things when it comes to the business of design, we don't know. You just, one moment you just open your Photoshop, Illustrator, you're doing something, and then another moment you're talking with a brand, another company that needs your services, and they're like, oh, this is not how it's supposed to be. This is
Exactly.
not
Yeah.
professional, just like you said. And through that chaos, we've learned to learn from it. But a lot of us, unfortunately, don't learn. So I really find it, will I say, attractive, or I find it very, very inspiring when I see designers that have learned to learn from the chaos and all. So I'll just put it that way, and which is why we have you. And one thing we've tried to do since we started, we want to encourage, or we want to the African narrative, just like you said, when it comes to the packaging and all. So we want to develop, or we also want to encourage our African thought leaders, because a lot of us, like if an European or someone from the Western world didn't say, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. We don't take it because it didn't come from them. So over the years, we want to build our own narrative as Africans. That's why we're getting thought leaders from Africa to teach us, or let us learn the African way, because our way is different from the Western way. And it's something that we should learn from day one. It's something that we should understand from day one. Now, having said that, I know we're going to have you here to talk about packaging sometime in the future, because I don't even want to go there, because like I see the designs, I'm like, wow, this is out of this
Thank you.
world. And it is so African. It is so like, it's so intentional, and I really love the designs. I really love your work. They're really, really amazing and all that. Well, if we start talking about your work, I'm pretty sure this will turn to two sections. But because of time, let's just go straight to now. Like I said, I stumbled upon your a thread you made, I think, earlier this year, talking about documenting when interacting with a client. let's take for example a logo design. So I get a logo design job. So it's not just about talking with the client, getting the writing down the brief, or just and then going straight to work on it. You know, you talked about so many things, so many other processes that goes in between. In fact, from the moment you pick up that phone to talk to the client to the moment, well, I say you end your contract with the client. Can we know more about this? Like someone will be asking, what is this process all about? What is this documentation process I keep hearing? What is it all about?
Mm-hmm. So just to start off by saying, I think process is very subjective, but there are points of convergence that we have to be aware of as designers in general. So how I talk to my clients and how I go through my discovery phase may not be exactly how you do it. But since we're here talking about documentation, there are things that we can implement that will tighten up the process and allow for us to be able to work well with our clients and to also, be in a comfortable environment and a comfortable space that allows for us to really explore meaningfully. So if we're to then take the example that you were talking of if someone approaches you with a logo design, let's say, the first thing is we want to be able to establish which channel this prospective client has reached out to us on. So have they spoken to us on Twitter? Have they spoken to us on Facebook? Have they spoken to us on LinkedIn, on Behance, whichever social profile you're on? Or have they even sent you a WhatsApp message because they got referred to you by someone who's familiar with your work? What you want to be able to do is follow up on any of those inquiries with an email, because this already sets a very professional tone and it shows that you're very serious about your business. But then it also allows you to start important conversations and be able to store them in a place whereby you know that you can keep a trail. So in the event that something does go wrong, or in the event that there's disagreement, hopefully not, because you want to be able to work well with our clients, you're able to refer back to instances that are put together in one space, as opposed to now trying to go back to your WhatsApp or trying to revert on a call. It just allows for you to be a little bit more efficient. From there, what you want to be able to do obviously is to understand their brand more. What are they about? What are they trying to achieve? So you have to have a comprehensive discovery process as well. So whether that's then you submitting an identity questionnaire that they can fill out, whereby they fill out the important details like their name, details about their business, who their target demographic is, where they're trying to get their branding to appear, how long they would like for you to work on this for, how much of a budget they have. So those are the sort of questions that you would be trying to discover through your identity questionnaire, which I would recommend is also followed by a discovery call. So just an introductory call between you and your client to formally introduce yourself. Because I think that when you're able to have not physical interactions, because we're not in the same space, but if you're able to have a one-on-one and your client is able to see you and hear how you explain your process and break everything down, it also instills a sense of confidence in them. And it breeds a sense of familiarity as well, for them to be able to associate the ideas and the entire communication thread to an actual person. I always say that as much as we are providing a product and a service for our clients, we also need to be able to show them our personality, obviously with setting boundaries of professionalism, because people also buy into people. So it's one thing for me to send a questionnaire to you, IK, and you can fill it out and send it back to me. But it's another thing for us to jump on the call and for me to actually have a comprehensive conversation with you and break everything down to you and how I work and how I process and how I would expect for the project to be rolled out, and, issues around communication and transparency, because it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more like you're being taken care of and your needs are being listened to. So I think that's very important to consider. So from your discovery questionnaire, from your introductory call, it then depends on what your client is after. I think what people don't actually realize as well, and what a lot of creators don't realize, is that discovery process as well allows you to assess whether you're the best fit for the project and what you're trying to work on. I believe that not everything is meant for us, and not every project is ideal for us. So we need to be very honest with ourselves as well during that process to establish whether it's something that you know very confidently you would be able to execute well, or if it's something that someone else would do better. I think at this point, I would encourage all the creators who are listening to this to say that what actually happens a lot of the time, I'm not sure about in a Nigerian context, but I know here everyone will say that they can do everything. And that's not the case. That's never the case. So you may have a little bit of knowledge in that particular area, or it may be brand identity, because we are talking to brand identity designers right now. But it may be a style and a concept that you are so unfamiliar with. And this is not to say that you should not take on a challenge, but I think it's better for you to be honest at this stage if it's something that you feel like you will not be able to do well, because we want to be able to offer creative solutions that are not only functional, but that convert as well. So the next step that we would want to take on is our proposal. And what our proposal document is to our client is a collation of the scope of the work that is expected of us, with fully laid out deliverables and a timeline as to when we believe we'll be able to complete that job. So all of this is subjective as well. It's based on your scheduling, and it's based on how long you think as a designer it will take you to actually complete the job. Your proposal document also includes a collation of your pricing structure. So how much it is going to cost for you to be able to complete the job, how you would like to be paid as well. So whether it's remittance, whether it's transfer, whether it's cash on hand, all of this needs to be stipulated in your proposal. What it also carries as well is, other clauses that help for you to be able to work well with your client. So it carries clauses around ownership to say that if we should not agree on the designs, or we feel like we're not reaching our expected outcome, or I feel, which is a case in sometimes, that you may have bad judgment and you take on clients that you don't necessarily get along with throughout the process, yet it was very different at the start. Your proposal document is going to protect you against all of those things. So in the event that you would have to possibly suspend or terminate a project, which hopefully is not the case, your proposal carries clauses that allow for you to do so professionally and allow for you to be able to return all the rights and all the ownership to the work that you would have explored. So that is your proposal in a nutshell. There are a lot more things that you can add to it, but the essentials that we need to just remember, and I'll list those down for us, are our user or our client information. So their business, what sort of work you're doing for them, whether it's logo development, whether you're doing their visual identity, whether you're doing their packaging. So it's going to include pricing. So your quotation should be in your proposal as well. Your payment terms, so whether you take a 30% deposit or 50% deposit before you start, or whether you offer a full on percentage discount for full upfront payment, everything should be included in there. It should also include ownership and rights. So what will happen if you happen to have to suspend the project and you've already sent out full-on explorations and the client is just not happy? Who retains the right to that work? And then obviously the big sign-off. So your client has to sign it all off to say, I agree with everything that is in your proposal. I agree with your terms and conditions. Let's work together. And that will allow for you to be able to work well with your client.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of process. And it's quite also I think it makes the entire design process, will I say, watertight or waterproof or airtight? I don't know how to say.
Mhm. It really
Because
does.
it gives you room to ensure, okay, make scrutinize the client, and also it goes two ways, and the client scrutinize, okay, are we able to work together? Because now,
Mhm.
if I was taking note of everything. Now the first thing is that we should ensure everything is done on all communication are on a single platform, and I believe your choice of platform will be an email, so that we can leave a thread of all our communication going back
Yeah.
and forth. And then after that, we send out a discovery questionnaire followed by a discovery call, because
Yeah.
we want to familiarize ourselves with the client. We want to get to know, and we want the client to also know us. And
Yeah.
from there, we jump straight to our quotation, a proposal where it has a lot of things, our quotation, how we work, how we want to get paid, and every clause is okay. The clause for the dismissal of a project, or the end of a project, or the cancellation of a project. And
Mhm.
afterwards, the client signs it off. And I believe it is important the client signs it off, so that it's a way of like, I agree with everything you presented. So going forward, there's no back and forth and all. Now,
Mhm.
someone might say, okay, the reason why I don't do this, I'm talking from the Nigerian perspective. Like,
Yes.
someone might say, the reason why I don't really do this, like, I don't want to present all these documents to my client, is I don't want to scare them. I don't want them to feel, this one I have to sign all, or this one I need a design, and I need a logo, and you're bringing all this paperwork, especially when it comes to the proposal part. Because I've heard story about a lot of clients get jittery when it comes to that.
Mhm.
What would your advice be to the designer? Sorry, not to the client, to the designer. What would you tell the designer? You know.
So, before I answer the question, I would want to say that if there are any contentions with your client with respect to your terms and conditions, then you should be able to open up a conversation with them and hear them out as to why they believe that, a certain part or a certain clause of your proposal is not something that they necessarily agree with. So you should be able to have that conversation. Um, but what I would say is that if general brand designers are fearful of what their clients are going to say if they're going to present a full-on proposal to them, then they should reconsider whether those clients are the appropriate ones for them. Because what will happen, right, is we obviously start at this stage, but as we advance in our careers and we get to a point whereby we have a quality client base, we want to be able to show them that we're very professional and that we're very sure and that we know what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, they're not hiring you just to design something pretty. They are hiring you to come up with a solution. So if clients are apprehensive of signing proposals or going through contracts, then that could possibly, right, in my opinion, be a red flag for whether that client is the best one for you. Because what proposals also do is they allow you to evade or avoid or prevent, to a certain extent, a bad judgment of character. So half the time we may not necessarily realize that, we are not going to have a good working relationship with a prospective client just from the discovery call. But throughout the process, you're like, oh man, and I'm sure we've all been there where you sort of start, regretting why you're even working on the project and you don't know how to get out of it. But you have to complete it, and now you're stressed out and things are just not working the way that they should. So
Yeah.
yeah. So my advice for sure is that if you then have apprehensive clients, like I've been saying, who feel a little bit intimidated by the fact that you are organized and professional and that you have defined your working terms and conditions, then you should definitely take a step back to think whether that person is the best person to work with. because I can assure you that if you have a willing client who is very committed to your work and is very, very enthusiastic about working with you, they are definitely going to be open to hearing that conversation. So if you break it down and say, this is my process, and my process entails that we also go through this documentation so that we are able to engage each other on a meaningful level, they will understand that, because they are committed to the work that you do. They've seen your body of work and they want to be able to have you work on the creative solution. If they are, a little bit intimidated, then think twice about it. They may not be the right client for you. Additionally, on top of that, I believe that as you're starting out, so it could be day one of month one of year one of design, it may not be necessary for you to have very comprehensive documentation like that, because you may not have very high paying clients to start off with. But as you go on in your journey, you have to make sure that you're able to at least protect your rights as a designer and also protect the interests of your potential clients. So that would be my advice with respect to that.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, it's all about structure. Like, if a client is dealing with the likes of Pentagram, the likes of, I think is, forgotten this, Lando, yeah, the likes of Lando, I'm pretty sure they won't have the same issue when they're presented, because those guys even have lawyers that handle these.
Mm-hmm.
It's not they have lawyers that handle
Mm-hmm.
these. So it's all about the way we present ourselves as designers. Now, if you want to be treated as a freelancer, or if you just want them to, oh, it's just all me, and I meet you, we talk, I start designing, and that's that. It's not professional. Like, there is no paper trail. Uh, I love this because it leaves paper trail. So you don't have to, oh, we agree that this is going to be this, and it's all about who says what versus like what you said versus what I said. But then with the paper trail, we can go back to, okay, going back to our conversation here, this is what we agreed on. Going back to the proposal here, this is exactly what we agreed on. And it allows both parties to, like, okay, we understand what we ought to do and we should do it without trying to, find the trouble of the other person. And also to avoid clients we call here in Nigeria, I don't know what you guys call them. We here in Nigeria, we call them clients from hell. We try to avoid these clients from hell. We really want to avoid them, because I've been in that situation, especially when I started, and I know of this client I started. It was sweet. It was so sweet. The first conversation was so sweet. The next conversation was sweet. I'm like, oh, this is the client. Like, this is a good client to work with. And I know down the line, and well, I just started, so forgive me for being a novice back then. Now, down the line, it turned out to be one very frustrating project. In fact, I abandoned the project. I'm like, okay, see, take your money, find someone else to do this. Like, I lost peace of mind. And I know I would have avoided this if I had placed these structures in place. Okay, it will help me better scrutinize this client. And also it will help the client better scrutinize me as well. And like, okay, can I work with this guy? And we won't have to have that issue. And I'm pretty sure we won't have any need to even have a conversation or about the project. But it has happened, and this is why we're here, because we want designers to know better than we did.
Yes.
Yes, we had to go through this, but I like to tell people I love learning from other people's experience. I don't like learning from my own experience. I love to learn from other persons. So the way you spoke to us today, or from your conversation with us today, I know, okay, this is what Fungi has experienced, and okay, I want to avoid these experiences Fungi had. Like, so let me do better from then. Okay, I have to experience those chaotic moments and then have to learn from it as well. And so now, talking about, I know someone out there will be like, okay, I don't know how to do this. How do I come up with this? Because that's the truth. So some of our designers may know, like, how do I structure a proposal? How do I come up with even a discovery questionnaire? And I know you have a freebie for that, right? Is this something someone can access? Can we still access that?
Yes, so it's accessible to anyone who would like to make use of it. What I've included, I have in my link tree, but I'm sure you'll also post the links. I have a Google Drive resource folder, and what you will find in there is a template for an identity questionnaire. You'll find a template for a design proposal as well. You'll also find a template for a rate card because that's also part of documentation. And what this can help you with, it can help you with the wording. It can help you to personalize it or customize it to whatever services you provide as a designer. And it will also help you to get a better understanding and a fuller appreciation of the technical jargon that you can use in order to protect yourself and to make sure that you work well with your clients as a brand identity designer.
Wow, wow, that is really amazing. And please, we're going to be leaving the link to the Google pack, to our freebie pack. We're going to be leaving the link on the caption. So just make sure, I've gone through it. They're really, really amazing stuff. So I wanted her to say it herself. So I've gone through the pack. This is something that people should be paying for, honestly. It's something people should be paying for. But for the fact that you're willing to share, you're not just sharing your experience, you're willing to actually share these things with us. And it's amazing. I'm pretty sure that's why we've nicknamed you the amazing fungi here, like here in this part of town. Anyway, so wow, it's been amazing talking about this because it's important. Structure is important in everything, be it in a relationship, be it in marriage, be it in business, whatever it is, structure is important. And we want to get designers off from just looking at your personal computer, coming up with amazing designs that don't sell. We want you to be able to sell those designs. We want you to build structures like that help you sell these designs and protect yourself as a designer.
Yes.
Wow, it's been an amazing. This was supposed to be 30 minutes, but I'm pretty sure that these guys won't mind. Before we let you go, first of all, we just want to let you know that we'll be inviting you back sometime soon. So please make sure you pick our call when we call.
Yes, I look forward. It's been lovely being here and being able to share my mind.
Okay, thank you. It's really a pleasure. It's an honor. And before we let you go, want to know quickly, is there something you want to add, so that someone out there, maybe a designer that just started today, this is his or her first month as a designer, like, is there something an advice, something you can add?
So, the thing I would say is that, when you're starting out, it may seem a little bit difficult and it may seem like, very challenging. But if it's something that you're very passionate about, you should definitely stick to it. Put your best foot forward and learn as much as you can. I always say that if you're starting out, and especially if you're going the self-taught route, IK was already talking about it, the first thing that you want to be able to do is utilize all the free resources that are at your disposal. So go on YouTube. There's so many great channels that you can learn from before you even think of paying for any courses. And this is not to say that courses are not brilliant, because they are. You should at least take some time out to explore and to learn and to make mistakes and to relearn and to grow. It's fascinating when you actually look back and you see how much you grow in a short amount of time. That would be my advice. If anything, you should also join communities if you can. And I'm absolutely so amazed by Creative Ferry and the fact that you are, providing a platform for young designers to be able to learn on different topics within, the creative field and how to navigate that. So that's also a good thing to do. But don't be afraid to reach out for help as well. There are probably, people who've been doing it a little longer than you have, and people who you may aspire to be like, or that you look up to, who are doing the kind of work that resonates with what you're trying to do as well, just don't hesitate to reach out to them and have a conversation with them. You will be amazed the kinds of responses that you can get from those kinds of people. And then the last thing I would say is to embrace the chaos. For sure.
Yeah.
I was reflecting just the other day because I happened to find my first Instagram page back from 2015, 2016, and the work that was on there compared to the work that I'm doing now is very different. It's worlds apart. And I remember that more specifically, as I was looking at it, I recalled that time was a time of extreme chaos. I tried everything and anything. It was very experimental. I was very curious. I wanted to learn everything that I could. So take the time out to absorb as much information as you can. Take the time out to try out as much as you can. Dabble in different styles and that sort of thing, because there will come a time whereby you will find yourself and you'll find the work that truly resonates with who you are as you grow and as you evolve. So stick to it, stick to your guns. If you are very passionate about this, do not for 1 second feel discouraged or feel intimidated because of what you may be seeing out there or the content that other people are posting. Deliver the best that you can at the stage that you're at, and you'll be shocked how much you grow over the months, over the years, and the sort of places that you end up in. So keep going. Your stars will align, definitely.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's I'm pretty sure someone is listening, and we're gonna leave links to her page. Like, you should go see the amazing work she's been doing, and especially her Twitter is one interesting place. So make sure you visit there and then go through some of the things. Like, it's really, really one interesting place I would recommend. It's a place we all need to go, especially if you want to. Thank you very much, for like it's been wonderful chatting with you this lovely evening. I know it's about 6 p.m. here in Nigeria and about 7 p.m. there. Thank you for giving us your evening. We appreciate that, and I'm pretty sure the viewers appreciate that as well. Till we see you again, have a lovely evening. Right.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening as well. Bye, everyone. Sure.